Hello, my name is Giuliana, and I am going to talk about my testimonial regarding birth control. As you could tell from the title, I'll go into a little bit of background about birth control and then my experience on the IUD, the Skyla IUD, and what I experienced getting off of it and how I recovered from it and how my life has improved drastically since using natural fertility tracking methods. So, birth control, the big topic, just the phrase it brings up a lot. I think it's a euphemism, personally, and the result of great marketing, because who doesn't want control over their bodies and who doesn't want control over their health? So birth control sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But that great marketing is a result of a multi-billion-dollar industry, which is the pharmaceutical contraceptive industry. It's spearheaded by huge corporations like Bayer AG, Planned Parenthood, the Gates Foundation, putting millions and billions of dollars into this industry and not putting that much back into things like research. So, if you wonder how we got here I don't know the statistics, but I'm sure everyone I knew in college and even some of my high school friends were on birth control. So there isn't much talk about alternatives. So that's why I'm here telling my testimony, because I think it's really important that we talk about it and we educate everyone, especially young girls, about their alternatives. So the IUD, that is the intrauterine device, and there are a few different kinds, but they're meant to be put inside of your uterus for 3 to 6 years. I believe 6 is the longest. Maybe it's 7 years. But it basically releases continuously a synthetic hormone called, I can't pronounce the longer term, but basically it's a progestin, which is a synthetic form of progesterone, which is a very important female sex hormone. And it is essential in things like the female reproductive system, neurochemical balance and health. And also, you can check the Wikipedia page. This is where I got this information from, but it's also linked to sexual orientation, which is really interesting. And there's variation among certain contraceptives. I think the pill also acts on the endocrine system of the brain. And there might be a few non-hormonal methods like the copper IUD, but that can also lead to severe copper toxicity. And yeah, there's so many lawsuits that I read up on, lawsuits against these companies because the side effects can be devastating. So at 18 years old, I'll go into my personal experience now. At 18 years old in 2016, I got the Skyla IUD, which is actually pretty old compared to some of the people I know. Got it super young. And yeah, so I got it at 18 before I had sex for the first time, because I assumed that was the right thing to do, the safest way to go. It was super easy at my university to make an appointment, and they were really accommodating at the women's clinic of my university. I don't think it cost me anything. I think it cost me like $20 to $30. And yeah, so they were very accommodating, very warm. They warned me of all the side effects, including infertility and excessive bleeding, blood clots, depression, pretty much the worst symptoms you can imagine for a medication. And I still got it in because there was no discussion about alternatives. Even growing up during sex ed, there's no discussion besides abstinence. That's basically the only safe alternative to birth control and protection. And, most people are interested in sex, so abstinence doesn't sound that fun. So I got it, and luckily my symptoms weren't terrible, but they were still noticeable. So 3 results happened from getting the IUD. Some of them I thought were good, but I come to find out that they're not that great as conveniences, which is the first reason, or which is the reason why we get birth control. Anyway, so these 3 things. The first one was I didn't develop physically really at all. So I was 18, still in puberty, because I actually just found out that the female body and mind don't stop developing until 25 years old. So I started birth control with the IUD, and I was still 100 pounds. I looked the same, and I'll post pictures here, but I looked the same as I did when I was basically 15 and 16. I was very thin, no curves, and yeah, I didn't really feel like a woman, I just felt neutral. I didn't feel very confident in my body, basically. And I also didn't get a period for 3 years. Oh yeah, I had it for 3 years. So from 18 to 21. So I didn't have a period throughout that whole time. Maybe I would bleed like a little bit every other month, but I had no period, which I thought was a convenience. That's one of the reasons why many women go on birth control, is to control their periods. And then the third thing was that I could have sex freely without worrying about pregnancy, which is the main reason also why people get birth control. So I was thin, I didn't have a period, and I could have sex without worrying about unwanted pregnancies. So basically my experience was I was too caught up in those conveniences of not having a period and not worrying about unwanted pregnancy that I didn't realize what the IUD was doing to my body. Being the first point, I was so thin, and I honestly looked like a little boy, like, to me, now seeing myself. So yeah, I was not very attractive, didn't like the way I looked, and I was treating sex just leisurely. And yeah, so now I will go into how I kind of got out of that mindset. So in 2017, just about a year after I got the IUD, I started having an interest in natural health, and I had this intuition that, the IUD pumping synthetic hormones into my body 24/7, probably not the best for me. So I actually, in 2018, started a nutritional balancing program with Dr. Lawrence Wilson. His work is amazing. And just reading through his articles really educated me on not only the proper diet and lifestyle to achieve remineralization and health, but also the reality of birth control and what it does to women. So I made the appointment, and in January 2019, I finally got it removed. And holy moly, that was an insane experience, because I came into, it was in the same clinic, and I walked into the clinic with this completely different mindset, and I was very excited to start fresh. And the clinicians, the same people were working there. When I went initially, I had this warm feeling like I was being taken care of, and then when I went to get it removed, there was just like, I'm like back there. There was this cold, kind of like bitter feeling to the staff. Like, I explained to my clinician that I wanted to do natural fertility tracking, and that was when she offered alternatives, and she asked me why I didn't want to be on birth control, and When I told her what I wanted to do, she like didn't have a response. She didn't have much to say on the topic. And I just realized that it's an industry, it's a business. Like, these companies are paying for their checks, you know? Like, it's not in their interest to help women like me cut ties with this industry, this multi-billion-dollar industry. So anyway, getting it removed was pretty traumatic, honestly. It was really, really painful, and like seeing the device out of me with, I don't even want to go into it, but if you want details, you can read my article or message me privately. But anyway, I left the clinic feeling this sense of both like invasiveness in my body and also just this insane sense of freedom to start fresh. And then like the changes happened instantly. It was like night and day. It was crazy. Like the week after I got it removed, I started my period, and honestly, the cramps were unbearable. It was so hard to get back into that rhythm, but I knew it was just this karma that I had to pay for treating my body that way. So my body was regulating all of its hormones and trying to figure out the whole dance again. So it was pretty hard to get back on track there. But my period started immediately, and I was really happy because it's a sign of reproductive health as a woman. And then that month, my body, oh my gosh, so my body swelled up completely. Like, my face, it just puffed out, and my breasts and my hips and my thighs, like everything got bigger. And all I did was remove the IUD. So I couldn't even like recognize myself in the mirror. It was pretty shocking, but I was really happy with that result. And I knew that I made the right decision because I started looking in the mirror and feeling like myself. I started feeling like a woman, and I wasn't so thin and like gaunt and sickly anymore. So that was nice. And also, vaginal mucus started flowing. So while I was on birth control, it was very dry. I didn't really have any changes in my body throughout the months of having the IUD, but I realized after getting it removed that certain parts of the month, I would just flow with vaginal mucus. It's a little gross, but no, it's not. It's quite beautiful because I found out that actually has to do with your fertility cycle. And then that's gonna lead into this next section, which is the road to recovery. And so 2 points here. One is a book that I highly recommend, and the second one is a procedure that helped me heal from the trauma of getting the IUD in and out. So the first one is The Billings Method, the book by Dr. Evelyn Billings and Ann Westmore. This book is amazing. It has mixed reviews because it can be a little redundant, but I thought the redundancy was really important in solidifying the knowledge in it. So basically, it is a book that teaches natural fertility tracking, and it also just educates in general on the female reproductive system. And the menstrual and fertility cycles that the body goes through throughout the month. And so it just teaches, with simple observational skills, you can track when you're fertile, when you're menstruating, in other words, when you can and can't get pregnant. And it is as effective, if not more effective, than most birth controls, backed by statistical data. So there are a lot of case studies in there, and it changed my life. I wish I could buy a copy for every young woman on this planet because it's just amazing. And I'm so shocked. Well, not that shocked, but I'm just mad that that isn't what sex education is in school. So you can also get a thermometer and corresponding apps for a more measurable way to track your fertility cycle. I don't know any names, but I have seen them out. I've seen reviews and they look really good. But I just used the observational skills in the book and it has worked for me. I have had no pregnancy scares and it's been 2019? Almost 3 years since I got it out. So yeah, I just think that book is essential. I think all kids, well, not kids, but all teens should read it in preparation for sex, because it is empowering, it is proactive, and it's so rewarding to be able to know your body like that and control your reproductive system in an involved way, not through pharmaceutical drugs. Yeah, it's just way better than the current message that you need these drugs to have sex safely. It's BS, honestly. Some additional benefits that I've noticed from the Billings method is, one, it discourages casual sex. And I know a lot of people have different opinions on sex, but I truly have come to the realization of the moral and spiritual weight that having sex gives to all the people involved. And casual sex can be really traumatizing to the body, the mind, the spirit. So having this natural fertility tracking birth control discourages casual sex because it really encourages communication between the partners on the cycle and when it's safe to have sex and when you have to be more cautious if you don't want pregnancy. And it also helps men retain their sexual fluid, and a woman too, but mostly men, because birth control, pharmaceutical birth control, it takes away the worry, or not the worry, but it basically has this convenience that there's no fertility, I can just ejaculate, as a man. And natural fertility tracking really helps the man retain that sexual fluid, because there's like a week to 2 weeks in the month where you could get your partner pregnant. So that has a bunch of its own benefits. NoFap is a thing for a reason. So I'd say that's a plus for the men involved. Okay, and then the second method of recovery that I found extremely helpful is the hydrogen peroxide implant. This is a procedure that's developed by Dr. Wilson, which he is an amazing researcher and scientist. And yeah, I will link the book and this procedure in the description, but basically the hydrogen peroxide implant floods the vagina with hydrogen peroxide, and this oxygenates it and helps get rid of any infections, diseases, any trauma done to that area, and it really just cleanses the vaginal canal, the cervix, the uterus, and deeper tissue as well. And I found that doing this procedure, I might make a whole video about how I set up for sessions and stuff, because the article describes it, but I have my own ways that have worked for me. So where was I? Basically, doing this procedure after getting it removed really helped me process not only like the mental and emotional trauma, the pain of getting it in and getting it out, but getting the IUD in and out, but it also like physically helped heal my cervix. And I knew that because like after I would do sessions, I would have this pinkish discharge, and I'd be like, whoa, and I would feel that pain in my cervix, the same one that I felt when I got the IUD in and out. So I could tell both physically and intuitively that it was helping, and I just feel in the utmost reproductive health that I've ever been in. So I did it about like 20 to 30 times, I think, over the course of like 6 months after I got it out. And I feel great. So I recommend that procedure. It's safe. It's a little tricky to maneuver, but I think it's so worth it for anybody. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, but in summary, I just think pharmaceutical birth control is a huge industry that it silences your body's natural rhythms and the female body's natural rhythms. And it creates, at least for me, this homogenous hormonal experience. Hey, I'm doing a video. If you have any questions, please, my information is in the description. I would love to hear from you and help you on your journey to realizing your full potential. All right? Okay, so thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I hope you have a great day or night or whatever. And I might be here again for a hydrogen peroxide video. So yeah, blessings. Thank you.